Introducing the beginning of an age of darkness, how Dachau's evolution led to a period of persecution. Eugene Kogan, historian and Holocaust survivor, once said, Dachau, the significance of this name, will never be erased from German history. It stands for all concentration camps which the Nazis established their territory. Dachau, a concentration camp located about 10 miles northwest of Munich, stands as the oldest Nazi concentration camp. Dachau was established as Germany's first political prison. It was established to restore the calm in Germany and was used to house prisoners who were opponents of the Nazi government, primarily communists, trade unionists, and social democrats. However, over time, Dachau evolved into something much darker than a political prison. It evolved into a concentration camp. Subsequently, Dachau became a place where thousands of Jews were held, tortured, and murdered. Dachau's evolution into a concentration camp was a precursor to the mass genocide and persecution during the Holocaust. As Dachau was the first Nazi concentration camp to be established, it served as a prototype and model for other Nazi concentration camps to follow. In 1933, Theodor Eck was appointed as commandant of Dachau. Moreover, John K. Roth, a philosophy of religion professor at Claremont McKenna College, describes how Eck established a harsh set of policies and procedures at Dachau, which later became the standard for other concentration camps once he became head of the Nazi network. The establishment of these policies was a step further in the culmination of the persecution of Jews. Furthermore, the Jewish Virtual Library, a historical archive by the American-Israeli Cooperative Enterprise, notes, Theodor Eck, the new commandant of Dachau, issues camp regulations for prisoners and guards under his command. The orders prescribe severe punishments, including systematic beatings and execution for infractions of camp rules. Eck imposes the death penalty on prisoners for acts of sabotage, attempted escape, and political agitation in the camp. Eck's system of punishments and administration will become the model for all concentration camps under the administration of the SS. After the establishment of Dachau, many more concentration camps began to emerge, following the same model. The Nazi regimen became more merciless, and thus more subcamps were built. Persecution of Jews increased. This set of policies and layout of Dachau enabled the camp to become a forerunner for the violence and brutality to come. Dachau was not initially designated as a death camp. However, an increasing amount of Jews were persecuted. It evolved into a camp in which a documented 31,591 people died at. David Krissinger, a New York Times writer, specializes in helping veterans tell their story. He describes the account of Edgar Koberwitz, a prisoner at Dachau, who documented everything he observed in a diary, which he then buried until the American liberation. Edgar describes the moment he was violently shot, adding that the intensity and brutality of the shots only increased. Additionally, Edgar documents numerous accounts of innocent victims enduring torture that eventually led to death. He notes how helpless souls were hung from trees and their arms were tied up behind them. Dachau was not appointed as a death camp. However, a record number of prisoners suffered violence and death at Dachau. This model and prototype served as a precursor for the atrocity and mass genocide to follow. Roy Bainton, a full-time author specializing in social and military history, explains, unlike the majority of the other camps, Dachau never received SS Himmler's special designation as a death camp, although a documented 31,591 souls perished here. The real figure is probably much higher. Thus, Dachau instigated the years of mistreatment and genocide against Jews. Dachau was a sizable training camp for SS guards, training the guards to become more ruthless and carry out more violence. SS units from all over Germany were sent to Dachau for advanced military and ideological training. Critically acclaimed author and military historian Flint Whitlock analyzes the training camp. At Dachau, in addition to the interment camp, there was also a huge SS training complex, where guards were schooled in their brutal craft. The finance offices for the entire SS, living quarters for the guards and officers, and a military hospital, and a camp headquarters building. These SS guards were able to train at Dachau and eventually carry out these duties elsewhere, causing atrocities and mass destruction. Furthermore, Dachau trained guards to become better at their trade, allowing them to advance from Dachau and eradicate millions of Jews. Bainton elaborates on the fact that Dachau was a massive training camp for the SS guards. Dachau allowed these guards to carry out mass atrocities in the East. Bainton notes, mass murderers began their SS concentration camp at Dachau. These SS guards were able to train at Dachau and eventually carry out these duties elsewhere, causing atrocities and mass destruction. Dachau's extensive system of training for SS guards enabled them to carry out violent crimes against humanity throughout World War II. In conclusion, as Kogan said, Dachau, it stands for all concentration camps, which the Nazis established in their territory. Dachau, originally a political prison, evolved into something that resulted in much more inhumanity, a concentration camp. The Nazis allowed Dachau to pave the way for more concentration camps to come. The establishment of Dachau enabled the various other concentration camps to carry out the same malicious torture. Dachau was a precursor to the mass genocide and persecution during the Holocaust. Germany's first concentration camp trained SS guards to become more brutal in their craft,
and it served as a prototype for the concentration camps and death camps to follow, and was the location where an increasing number of Jews were persecuted. It is important to internalize the history of Dachau to understand how detrimental the concentration camp was to the future of World War II. Persecution and inhumanity will only worsen if one enables it.